Hello, everybody, and welcome this afternoon to this sort of joint Festival of the Arts Tuba Bach production. Curious, before I forget, how many of you were at the Ferris International Festival earlier today? Pretty good stuff? Good, good. I miss out on it because I'm here getting ready for this, but I'm glad that that was going on. So, yeah, this is a twofer today. So, on behalf of both of the organizations, want to thank Emmanuel Lutheran Church for this wonderful space where we can have performances and various things. Among the various things, tomorrow night over in Fellowship Hall is a reception for the artist that did all the paintings that are around in the narthex and in Fellowship Hall. So Justin Kellner, he'll be here and we can all thank him for his artwork. And also John Warner, who is our public art winner, I guess. He's going to create a piece of public art for the city of Big Rapids. So he'll be here, so reception for those. And then Joe Leeper is doing a session on Birding 101, all to celebrate Big Rapids, Bird City, Michigan. So that's tomorrow night at 7 over in Fellowship Hall. But you're here today. So from the standpoint of Festival of the Arts first, hopefully you have one of these. And we're at the midpoint. Can you believe it already? We're halfway through the festival. 15 days in, 15 days to go. Next February. Or perhaps Tuba Bach is the encore, because that keeps on going after February is all done. So there's no shortage of artsy things in town. So I think it's exciting. You still got 30, 40 some events in the festival to do. But yeah, after February is over, actually March 1st is over, there's still lots and lots of arts that happen in our community. So take advantage of all of that. Throughout the book, there are sponsors, there are advertisers, there are individuals in there that help make this festival possible so that y'all can come here and don't have to pay a ticket fee on your way in. Take time out of your busy schedules and thank some of those people. That helps them, it helps us to know that you notice them and they notice that you notice them, and thank them for their support. So that'd be great. That is, and if you don't have a book, take one. If you do have a book and you think you know some people that might not have one, take them some books too. We appreciate that. So that, on behalf of the whole board of the Festival of the Arts, thank you very much for coming. Okay, new hat, Tuba Bach. Thank you for coming. We thank you for all that is here, and our platinum sponsors that make things happen, Ferris State University, of course, and the Marlis Myron Educational Fund. This is a very appropriate program for that. I mean, the music is cool, but you're going to learn a lot too. So it's educational programming. So we thank Gunder and the Marlis Myron Fund for that. Learner Financial and Dan Terry, Edward Jones Financial, so both of those groups, and of course Michigan State University. So we thank them. There is coming up, what's next on that? March 22, so really not that far away. So we got this Sunday, next Sunday is another Festival of the Arts, the next Sunday is the final Festival of the Arts, then you get 2 Sundays off. And then on the 22nd, Dmitry Berlinsky, who is professor of violin at MSU, he and Noah Millette, who you'll see in just a second, and you've seen lots of times before. So Dimitri on violin, Noah will be playing harpsichord, so that's on March 22nd. On the 29th, Reed Ricotta is a trumpet player, grad student. Catherine Don is a grad bassoon student, so they're going to present a joint recital. And then I have to do this in the right order. When is that? April 12th. So then there's a Sunday off for Easter. We thought we should do that. And then on April 12th is the Tuba Bach Spring Concert that's kind of celebrating 250 years of American song. So we got 4 singers coming up for that. That will be all sorts of fun. And then on May 3rd, yeah, that's the next Tuba Bach one. May 3rd, Noah is back again for a solo performance that's kind of half piano, half marimba. So hope that you can come for that. So that's all of the upcoming concerts for both programs. We hope to see you there. Both organizations, as I said, we're happy to do these things without charging any admission. If you would like to help out with that, today, the tuba that's out there is taking donations for Tuba Bach. So that's how that works. And if you would like to know about donating to either one of the organizations, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Scott Cohen is here. He'd be happy to talk to you about it as well. So I think that is the announcements that I have to make. If I think of anything later, I'll just, jump up in the middle of the show. So mostly, thank you all for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all at future Festival of the Arts events. As I say, there's a lot of them still to go, and I'll be at a lot of them, so I look forward to seeing y'all. So today, we're going to learn about traditional Korean music. Jean Lee is on the faculty in the College of Music at Michigan State University. Catherine Lee is a graduate student, doctoral student at Michigan State, and those two ladies are going to take you through some things, also with some help from Noah Millette, who is an honorary Korean today, and there's one thing at the end that I'm going to be Korean for a moment as well. So please welcome Jean Lee and Catherine Lee and Noah Millette.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So my name is Jean Lee, and in my day-to-day musical life, I am known as the string music ed professor at Michigan State University. But obviously, that is not what I'm here to present today. I was very fortunate. I was born in Lansing, Michigan, Sparrow Hospital. And but despite being born and raised in America, I was fortunate to also be raised. I was raised learning also about my Korean heritage and learned a lot about Korean traditional music. When I was young, I guess my parents realized I had some sort of musical aptitude, and so they were clever enough to realize, well, let's see if there's a way we can keep Jean speaking Korean and understanding her Korean culture. Maybe the avenue for that is through music. So that's what they did. There was a graduate student at Michigan State University who also grew up playing this traditional music, and I took lessons with him, and we formed a little drum circle on campus when I was 12 years old. And now I get the wonderful honor of still continuing to share my knowledge and have collaborators with fellow MSU students. So that's what I'm here to do today. So the thing about Korean traditional music, when I was growing up, I never imagined that there would be so much interest in Korean culture. There's like this big wave of interest with like K-pop, Korean pop music, Korean dramas. I mean, right now, K-pop Demon Hunters is all the rage worldwide, and so I keep getting asked to do this sort of guest lecture and share about Korean traditional music, and it's fitting because when it comes to Korean traditional music, since like the 70s or 80s, it's all about adapting and honoring the past while adapting for modern times. And so so that is sort of the theme of our presentation today. Don't worry, we will play, but I have to lay the context for you while we do so. So Noah's going to go ahead and change slides here. So I mentioned Korean traditional music, Korean dramas, and movies. The movie Seopyeonje, which is the picture on the lower bottom, that came out in the 90s, and actually Michigan State University was one of the first places to show this movie. The movie Seopyeonje is about street musicians who are trying really hard to keep Korean musical traditions alive during a very quickly changing society. It was post-war Korea, and they were modernizing, and they were singing Pansori, which is a one-man opera. It was a way of storytelling back in the day with, I guess, was it the noble class-ish? Mostly the noble class. So when it comes to Korean music, there's like three categories similar to Western music. There's royal court music, aak, And then there's music, high-class music, and then there's nongak, which is music of the people, folk music, which we're going to focus a little bit more on today, like music of the people. And back then, music of the people were farmers, so it's really farmers' music. But then there was also the pansori tradition, which Catherine is actually going to share with you, which is about storytelling set to music. That's how we shared all kinds of information and traditions. And so anyway, so that's what Sepyeonje is about. And then in Mr. Sunshine, that's another movie, a more recent movie, which is same thing. This was post-war Korea and Korea modernizing and struggling really hard to maintain old traditions while modernizing, and then also during the Japanese occupation. So there's like 3 different things happening in Korean society back then. Everybody was trying to navigate and negotiate between the 3, and that you can kind of track Korean history through situations like that. There was a lot of different influences going on in Korean culture and its art and music. All right, and then now, even more recent, is traditional music showing up in K-pop, Korean pop music, and this is very relevant because of the interest with K-pop Demon Hunters, the movie. Anybody here know of K-pop Demon Hunters? If you have children or grandchildren, they probably obsessed over it this past weekend. Okay, very, very cool. And so I'm a huge fan of BTS. BTS is sort of, let's start back with Psy from Gangnam Style. Do you recognize Gangnam Style? Okay, all right. I can't dance it, so don't ask me to dance. But there's Gangnam Style, which set by Psy, and then BTS, who are probably the most well-known. And then we also have August D, who is a member of BTS, who was really interested in Aak, like Korean noble class royal music, and he often set a lot of those instruments and rhythms and sounds to his own rap music. And then Oh My Girl we did that with singing folk songs into their all-girl K-pop band. And then Blackpink does a lot with some of the Korean traditional string instruments. So if we had a little bit more, if we end up having some time, I'll play some of the music later with links. But I want to get over to Catherine so you could experience some of our own live performances here.
Okay, so Jean was just mentioning about how Korean traditional music was being used in the pop culture nowadays, and I'd like to talk about one of the biggest examples that actually released back in 2020. It was by this Korean band named called Linalchi, and those musicians and the singers, they're all trained in Korean traditional music. So it was based on the pansori. Their whole albums were based on storytelling in a Western pop music style. And I'll talk about a little bit about pansori. So pansori is one person acting and singing assisted by gosu, which means a drum player. And there are 5 main folk tales, and I'm going to sing about one story. And it was started becoming a genre in late 17th century during Joseon Empire, which is the name of an empire right before Korea becomes how we gain the name Korea now. So the little bit about story in this particular scene is named called Tiger is Coming. So it's basically about a turtle who is working in the underwater palace. When an emperor is really sick, what the god was telling them is, we need a rabbit's liver. So, I know it's scary, but this particular scene is funny. So, so the turtle is usually staying in the ocean. So, like, he's not used to going on the land. And he was supposed to call rabbit. In Korean, we say 토끼. And he meant to say 토끼, but his chin got so loose from living underwater for so long, he accidentally calls for a tiger, which in Korean is 호랑이. So it becomes ho. So the tiger was like, I'm a scary creature who calls my name. It's a new thing. So I'm gonna go see who's calling my name. And that's the song that I'm going to sing. And very interesting thing about this particular 이날치 version of 판소리. Actually, Noah, could you please play the music?
범 내려온다 범이 내려온다 장님 깊은 골로 대한 짐승이 내렸다 범은 덜숭덜숭 꼬리는 잔뜩 한 팔이 넘고 위에 머리 흔들며 전동 같은 앞다리 봉화 같은 뒷발로 양개 째어지고 새낙 같은 발톱으로 잔디뿌리 왕모래를 촤르르르르 흩치며 주홍잎쩍 버리고 허리랑 하는 소리 하나리 묻어지고 땅이 툭 꺼진 한듯 차례 정신없이 목으로 움츠리고 가만히 엎젖었다.
Okay, so that's the westernized version of this song. But in tradition, so as tiger has been considered as a mythical creature, instead of we're using 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 1, 2, we're going to play in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, kind of uneven beats, right? Yeah, so in Korea, whenever they're trying to characterize a mythical creatures, they do not use an even beat. So, yeah, when you listen, when I'm singing this scene, you'll be like, wait, where's one? I need one. Where is it? Yeah, and I think I'll just sing and yeah, and since it's all in Korean, we'll show you the translation of this particular scene. 범 내려온다 범이 내려온다 송림 깊은 골로 한 짐승 내려온다 몸은 널숭널숭 꼬리는 잔뜩 한 발이 넘고 누에 머리 흔들며 양기 쭉 쥐어지고 전동 같은 앞다리 같은 앞다리 전랑 같은 발톱으로 잔디뿌리 왕모래를 차르르르르르르 흩치겨 사람 깜짝 놀래 호랑이가 고 홍행홍행하는 소리 산천을 뒤덮고 땅이 툭 꺼진 한듯 자라가 깜짝 놀래 목을 훔치고 땅이 엎졌을 때 Yeah, so okay, so what's next? Noah, let's move ahead. So Jin will talk about our upcoming style of music that we're going to show you guys. So let's have Jin back in.
Okay. I had to take my shoes off to sit on this mat, so Pardon me. I'm just going to stand right here. So, like we mentioned before, there's about 3 different categories when it comes to Korean music. There's the Royal Court music, which we're not going to demonstrate today because I don't have those rare instruments in possession. But we have the pansori, which is leaning more noble class, and then we have nongak, which is the farmers' music, music of the people. And so really high energy percussion because daily life on the farm was kind of grueling and so on, that just to lift everybody's spirits and keep everybody energized to get through the work day, we've got high energy music. All we have today here with us is the percussion, but there are some wind instruments, some reed instruments, and dancing. You can think of, if you can picture something like a harvest festival, that would typically be the context for a large musical celebration with dancing and parading and so on. No, if you wouldn't mind hitting for the next slide. So it's very, very community-based, a way to gather people together to celebrate high energy. A lot of times when Noah and Ed join us towards the end for our final musical selection, you're going to hear us do a chant, which is a chant for a good harvest, where we basically are chanting to the stars, the wind, the gods of weather to bring us good weather for a good harvest and so on. So that's an element of the farming music that we're going to bring into our modern day presentation. I'm wondering if I could, because I don't have the parade function. Like I said, a lot of times it'd be like a harvest festival with the parade. We're not doing that, obviously. We're doing the indoor presentation. So if we could hit the link for that video, that might give you a better context. Hopefully the link still works. I don't know if it does or not. Oh, okay. But anyway, for nongak, okay, there we go. We can go on to the next slide then. I don't want to get lost with it. I think the next slide shows. Okay. Well, actually, if you look at the picture here, so Korean farming music traditionally in olden times involved people dressed in those costumes. They've got these colorful little hats with ribbons. So it would actually be a musical and acrobatic presentation. When I was young, I used to be able to flip. Like I used to strap that drum to my waist and be able to do flips and had a ribbon on my head and so on. Yeah, that was when I was 19. I don't have those core muscles anymore. After 3 kids, no way. But anyway, so they would parade down with their instruments strapped. The acrobats would be dancing and flipping around, and like this high energy percussion music would be happening. There would be masked dancers. Dressed in different characters, like a nobleman character, a king, queen character, all those things, and beggars, and so on and so forth. And there'd be just like a homecoming parade, okay, but with acrobats and so on, and the music. Okay. But then, so obviously that's an outdoor presentation. But then in the 70s, this gentleman called Kim Dok-soo decided to take Korean music and modernize it and turn it into a more virtuosic indoor concert hall type presentation. So that's more what I learned how to do growing up, and that's what we're going to present for you today. And so it's samunori. Sa means 4. And then, so basically, samunori translates into played by 4. So Kim Dok-soo took, out of all the different instruments that were involved in the old traditional farming parade, he took 4 percussion instruments that he thought sounded good together, that could be performed indoors, and still have like a high energy presentation. So those 4 instruments are, let me start with puk, which is a barrel drum. Catherine, if you want to play a little bit of that. Oh, actually, you want me to do it? Okay. And then we've got, here, I'll go ahead and play it. So this is not the actual, this is called a 소리북. This one is, I don't have the actual 사물놀이 북. This one is more for voice for what she and I just did. But this, I'll go ahead and play it though. So this is a typical Buddhist rhythm. You would hear this in the Buddhist temples. So that's the puk, it's the barrel drum, bass drum. And then the tango, which is more of like the lead melodic instrument. Like if this was a marching band, this would be the bass drum. This would be more like the tenors in a marching band drum line, just very loosely. But Catherine, you want to go ahead and play that for us? So very cool, isn't it? So this is called the jango, and I'm sure you noticed that not only is it a beautiful instrument, the way you play it is a little bit more versatile. She was able to play on the left side and the right side, so there's a lot of different textures and sounds that we're able to draw out of this one instrument, so the jango. So the jango in samunori obviously is a team play, but you can also focus on just itself. And in more noble class music, that you could also like play while dancing. It's considered a kind of a feminine instrument in a way, and so like in noble class music, you would see women with this strapped to their waist and playing and dancing and twirling around at the same time. So that's kind of a historical context, and then but you can see it's also by itself, it's a very virtuosic instrument that can just stand by itself in a musical context. So next. I'll do the gengari. This is my primary instrument. So growing up, back when I was being trained, it's like there was like an order. This was the first instrument I learned, and then this was my real training instrument to turn me into a leader. And once I mastered this instrument, I got to play this. So this is called the gengari. This is more of the conducting instrument. Even though it sounds like a cymbal, it's more like, you know how in the marching band, like the snare drum is kind of the lead? Or drum major? Yeah, that's this guy right here. It's supposed to represent the element of lightning, and you'll hear why in just a second. I'm going to turn off the mic for this one. Okay. It's loud. It's so loud. Very loud, and I do have a little bit of hearing loss in my left ear from years of playing this, but this is called the gengari. It's supposed to be the crash of lightning, and this is the pitter-patter of rain, thunder, and then my favorite instrument, which you all will get a chance to try it later today. This is the jing. This is a gong, or technically in percussion speak, a tam-tam, okay? And this represents windstorms. It's a very satisfying sound, isn't it? Satisfying, yes? There's just something about the tone of it that just kind of digs deep. So that's the jing. And so, again, honoring the tradition of this music coming from the farmers, each drum represents an element of nature: windstorm, thunder, lightning, and rain. All right, let's change slides. Okay, so like I said before, samonori translates to played by four. We just introduced the four instruments to you. And then, like I said, Korean music and modern day history is all about honoring the past while adapting for the present. And that's what samonori is. There's this common misconception that this music is old, but it's not. This just came out in the 1970s, this iteration of folk music. So. But by doing so, we were able, Korean music was able to be kind of performed around the world. We could literally go and do concert tours. I believe Kim Deok-soo took this troupe right here. That's Kim Deok-soo. I didn't get to study with him, but I was taught by one of his proteges, which was kind of cool. So anyway, so when he created this art form, they went and Percussive Art Society. Yeah, they performed that here. They performed in London for the Queen of England. So I guess this made Korean music really, really portable and accessible to the world. I guess you want to play a little bit of that? I think that's different. This is a different piece from what we're performing, I think.
대한민국 KBS 국악한마다 국악사랑 시청자 여러분 다 모였으면 1차, 2차, 단 3차 끝에 행진을 합시다.
So still very high energy, very virtuosic, totally fitting for concert halls and so on. I want to explain a little bit about how they're dressed. So they're wearing what we call samulbok, samonori uniforms, but the ribbons that they're wearing different colorful ribbons, and those ribbons, the colors represent the different regions of Korea. And sometimes Kim Deok-soo, they would wear the ribbon colors representing whatever location they're performing in, or representing what region of Korea that they come from. So that explains a little bit about their uniforms and so on. But yeah, so we're gonna keep on, oops, sorry. Okay, and so this is where we come in, Michigan State University and myself and so on. So diaspora of Samulnori, the way Samulnori got shared and celebrated and crossed into the US, so to speak. So there are actually Samulnori groups all over the US, typically college campuses where there's a decent sized Korean student population. I don't know if we still officially have one at MSU, but there's a pretty active troupe in Ann Arbor called Shinaboro. When I was 16 through my undergraduate time at Michigan State University, we did have a group on campus, but then once I graduated, it kind of died. But hopefully in a couple of years I can bring it back to MSU. But there was one, and then back in the 80s and 90s, there were a lot of speaking of diaspora, there were a lot of babies from Korea that were adopted by American families, and so there were a lot of Korean culture camps. And so starting about when I was 16 or so, my family got involved with the Korean culture camp. There was one in Flushing, which we then moved to East Lansing, and then there's also one that was up north, near the UP, and my family kind of became like the curators of primary resources for Korean culture, and they loaned out a lot of materials, and then I taught Korean folk music at these Korean culture camps. So that's kind of how things happen in Michigan with the Korean folk music. So there's that. And we're gonna start performing. Oh, that's me, but you don't need to see that. Okay, anyway. So right now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna sing a song for you. It's Minyo Korean folk singing, different from pansori, a slightly different style. You'll hear the difference. Catherine's gonna sing, or she's gonna accompany me on the jango. This is called 진도 아리랑. So if you know anything about Korea at all, you might recognize the song 아리랑. I'll sing a little bit of the traditional one. 아리랑 아리랑 아라리요 아리랑 고개로 넘어간다. Is that recognizable to any of you? Yeah, okay. So that's arirang. So that's the more normal, everyday version of it. But again, there's lots of different regions in Korean. So this one's more of like your southern style folk song. So that's what I'm going to sing. It's called 진도 아리랑. It came out of the Jindo region of the Korean peninsula. And this one, a lot of people would like adapt the lyrics to whatever context they were singing in. Yeah, here we go. 아리아리랑 스리스리랑 하라리가 나왔네 아리랑 아라리가 났네 분경 세제들 웬 고겐가 구비야 구비가 눈물이 난다 아리아리랑 스리스리랑 하라리가 나왔네 아리랑 아라리가 났네 놀다 가세 저다리 떴다지도록 놀다 가세 아리아리랑 스리스리랑 하라리가 나왔네 아리랑 아라리가 났네 만경창파에 둥둥 든배 허기어차 아야 뛰어라 노를 져라 아리아리랑 스리스리랑 하라리가 나왔네 아리랑 아라리가 났네. Okay, so so that one obviously has a little bit more country flair than the traditional arirang. This one, it's just an upbeat version to kind of get the blood pumping, get the crowd going, and get everybody riled up. It's really more of a party song, really. So that's Jindo Arirang. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit and get ready to perform some Samulnori for everyone. Let me just keep track of time here. Yep. Alrighty. So I'm gonna ask Noah and Ed to come join us. And again, the old context of it back when it was nongak, farming, parade music, it wasn't meant to be super precise or, some like elevated art form. It was really just a way for people to gather and have fun and be more like a drum circle. And so literally Ed just joined us like 2 hours ago. He's such a good sport, and I was excited to have him collaborate with us for this. And okay, so this is called Yeongnam Samulnori. These are rhythms that came from the Yeongnam region of the Korean Peninsula. And we hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for joining us. So obviously, this is it's celebration music. It's gathering music. It's all about community. It's all about inviting others to be a part. So I think I think it's so perfect when we get asked to do things like this, and we can invite Ed to join us. We can invite Noah to be what you call him, the honorary Korean today. And we're supposed to shout and get ready and smile and laugh while we're up here on stage. It's supposed to be, joyful. It's all about gathering people together. That's the power that this music has because, it's loud. You can't avoid it. But so you might as well join in. Speaking of which, I thought I would just do a little bit of deep dive into some of these rhythms and so on. So literally the heartbeat of the rhythm patterns for what we do is the heartbeat. So I don't know if you want to demonstrate a little bit, Noah. Tung, da-dung, da-dung, da-dung. Exactly, and then Catherine has the same thing, usually with her left hand. Yeah, and then in the right hand we have what's called kidak. Yeah, and so when I didn't learn this music with any notation. It's an oral tradition. A lot of times you learn it by rote, and we have what we call rhythm syllables. That so when I say tung do dung do dung, tudung tu is the rhythm syllable for this instrument for the puk. So tu do dung do dung do dung, and then for the chango it's tang kidak kugung. Tang means hands together. Kidak right hand. And then kugung for left hand. So we use these rhythm syllables to tell people how to play the instrument. So for me, on gengari, it's geng, 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 genji, 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 gen. Those are my rhythm syllables. And then for ching, literally it's just ching. Ching, ching. So that's how we teach these rhythms and pass it down by generations is by these rhythm syllables that we use. So that's how it's all shared. Which brings me to my next point. I would love to invite you to learn how to play these instruments. So do you mind if I teach you some rhythm patterns? All you need are your hands and your knees. And then if you would like to come on stage and try out the instruments, you're more than welcome to do so after I teach you some rhythm patterns. How does that sound? Yeah? Okay, so. Can you see me if I sit right here? Can you see me for the most part? Okay, so let's do. Oh, okay. So this one's called 진어방진, I think. 덩. Okay. So 덩 means hands together. So hands together, both on your knees. 덩, 딱, 딱. So 덩 means hands together. Oh, thank you. So 덩 means hands together. So 덩, and the 딱 is your right hand. So we're mirror, we're mirror image. Yeah, so your right hand. So 덩, 딱. So you would hit with your right hand on your right knee. So let me try that again. It goes 덩, 딱. Want to try that together? Ready? And then when I say 시작, that means ready, start. That's Korean, 시작. Okay, ready, 시작. 덩, 딱. Very good. Let's do that 2 times in a row. Okay, ready? 시작. 덩, 딱. 덩, 딱. Okay, are you ready to level up? We're going to take that second. We just did it 2 times in a row. We're going to take the second one and make it a little bit fancier. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. 덩, 딱. 타다당, 덩, 딱. So, here's the fancy one. Let's isolate the fancy one. Don't worry, I'm a music teacher. It's okay. All right? Okay, I do this for a living every day. So the fancy one goes like this. 타다당, 덩, 딱. Let's try that together, yeah. Okay, you ready? Go. 타다당, ta da dang, tang dang, tak tak. That was very good. How about we do this? My turn, then your turn. We'll go back and forth a couple times till we're comfortable. Okay? This is my turn. Ta da dang, tang dang, tak tak. Oh, so good. My turn again. Ta da dang, tang dang, tak tak. So good, so good. So then when you put the two together, it's like this. Tang dang, tak tak, ta da dang, tang dang, tak tak. Yeah? Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 시작. 당 dang, tak tak, ta da dang, tang dang, tak tak. Oh, so good, so good. So then Catherine's going to show you what it's like when you put it on one of our instruments here. Okay? You good? Yeah. Okay. Let me get out of the way. 시작. 당, 당, Noah can do the same thing on his instrument. Okay, but his is really, really fun because he gets to do a tak tak up here. Okay, go ahead. Can we have a couple volunteers? Who's ready to put this on the actual instrument? We can have more than a couple volunteers if anybody wants to give it a try. Anybody want to come up here and try out these instruments? Don't be shy. This is a safe space. Yeah, you can start on this one if you like, or that one. It doesn't matter. I heard the mayor was here. Yay! Yay, come on up. Which one would you? Huh? Oh, we can hold it. Come on up. You're okay. You are an honorary Korean. Okay, and you know it's there's no like fancy technique. You just hold the mallet in your hand like a fist. So it's very, very easy. Yeah. And would anybody else like to come up here and try this instrument? Come on, let's go. I usually, when I go to elementary schools, I have lines that go out the door. It's okay. Yes, come on up. Yay! So this is the rim shot right here. Yeah. Anybody want to play the gong? It is very therapeutic. Come on up and play the gong. Huh? Noah, do you want to play the gong? It's the gong show. All right, ready? Okay, let's clap with them. Let's do it together. Ready? 시작. 당, 당. Any other takers? Tell you what, on your way out of here, if you would like to strike the gong to announce your exit, you are more than welcome to do so. Yeah. Anyway, any questions for us while we're here? There's a lot. I feel I feel kind of silly. We just sort of breeze through this giant overview, but there's quite a bit to this, and not. Essentially, when you make music, it's all pretty simple. It's just an exchange of energy. But are there any questions at all?
How does the Korean scale compare to the European scale on music? I mean, we do use like notes in between our notes kind of thing.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So in like Western music, we have like chromatics and like scales in different key, right? In Korean traditional music, we have 8 notes as a scale. So like in Western notation, I would say do, re, fa, sol. Oh, I would say 5 notations then. Yeah, pentatonic. So like do, re, fa, sol, la. So like for example, when Jin was singing the Arirang, the one that is the most famous, Arirang, Arirang, Arariyo. That, yeah, the whole song is made with those 5 notes. Yeah. And in more traditional way, the way we notate it is named called 정간보, so which is square notation, and we didn't use staff notation, and all the notes were written in Chinese character before Korean character was invented. Yeah, and or for the drums, what we would see is in those square, which consists of 1 beat per square. You will see circle with a line in the middle, or just a line, or dotted line for different articulation. Yeah, I think that's the brief Korean music history 101.
When I first saw shape notes, I was like, oh, it kind of looks like Korean rhythm notation. Looks similar. But I mean, it functions differently.
Yes.
Can you tell us how traditional Korean music has changed between North and South Korea?
I'm certainly not an authority, but I don't think it's changed too much, really, as far as like the traditional music goes. There's not as much fusion as what we have in South Korea with like, the Western influences and K-pop and so on. I think a little bit more, holds on a little bit more to the traditional. But beyond that, there's not really that much change. They just don't have as much of the Western influence for fusion. Yeah. But I'm not an authority because I don't have access to North Korea. So, yeah. But that's by educated guess, I suppose. Yeah.
So I guess the biggest difference nowadays between the cultural difference between South and North Korea is North Korea is more closed from, like they're not willing to accept more Western culture into their culture. So the style of pop music there is pretty much the music that we would have sang in the 50s or as late as, I would say like not earlier than 60s even. Yeah, because I mean, they do have orchestra. They use Western classical instrument, but a lot of times their instrumentation is a lot more like mixed culture. They are still trying to use more of Korean traditional percussion instruments while they're singing like Western pop music. I mean, and also like the style of music, the genre, because of what they need to sing is more about propaganda base. Their musical genre gets very limited. Yeah. Oh wow. uh, yeah, and I'll get to you after. Yeah. Yes, there's so many. So let me hand this to Jean.
Yeah, so a lot of the rhythm patterns in Nongak, like the farmer style, are based off of the repetitive motions of farming, and then also based on shamanistic rituals, influence a lot of the rhythm patterns. So here's one that's actually kind of asymmetric. Let me just play it real quick. That's more of a shaman pattern. So that rhythm pattern, the asymmetric pattern, is more based on shaman rituals and dances. And then there's this one that's from the repetitive motions of farming, which Catherine played earlier when I was singing. So, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. That one's from farming and the heartbeats. Yeah. All the way in the back? Yes, yeah. Yeah, so at home, I debated bringing it today, but I don't really play it very well, like, so I didn't bring it. But lots of, we have what's called a kayagum, which is a zither, similar to, similar to Japanese and Chinese zithers. There was a lot of cross-cultural influence. But yeah, there's a lot of strings. Like the Chinese erhu, there's a Korean version of that, and but I guess we focused on the farming music, like the pungmur, the parade music would have had other wind instruments and so on. The court music and the noble class music involves more of the stringed instruments. Yeah.
Also, just to piggyback on that, so during Joseon Empire, we have the ritual ceremonial music for the past kings. Those are the biggest example that all those Korean traditional string instruments were being used, and also like they use like gigantic lion-looking guiro, and this instrument, quengari, is not being used in that particular music. They have specific person who controls a wood slab named called Bach, and that person depends on how many beats and what speed, that tells the whole direction in the music too. Yeah, the 종류 달라요. Yeah. In general, or? Oh, yeah.
Like reed instruments, there's one that sounds kind of like an oboe.
It's named called the 태평소. It looks like oboe actually too. That has like a little bit of bell towards the outside, and
There's flutes.
yeah, but some other instruments that are not used in Pomolori or the 농악 is piri, which is like a thin. It looks like a piccolo, and right, and then there's 대금, which is a big bamboo flute, and also 단소, which looks like a recorder but completely different sound. It was all made out of wind, bamboo, women's instruments. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just giving you a really small snapshot of Korean folk music, just based upon what instruments I had at home and at my mom's house.
Yeah, we can go like a whole weekly semester of it. Any other questions?
Are there any tubas like Korean?
We do not have tuba. However, we do have. It's not. It looks like a natural trumpet. You know, when you look at all this like old painting back in Renaissance, like all the angels are like having this big trumpet looking. We do have that, and also when the emperor marching music happens, we use the conch shell. Yeah, it gets pretty creative, right? Yeah, like those are, so the 태평소, which is the oboe, like similar to oboe, that one is more being used as a melodic instruments, and then the conch shell and the big natural trumpet is being used more as like giving bass. Yeah. Any other questions?
These are great questions.
Yeah, like I was not expecting this, and it's great. So more questions are welcomed. Anything? Going once? Going twice?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, and please feel free to come up here on the way out and check all the instruments out. Thank you.